who would have thought? But like 15 years later, when I was on RuPaul's Drag Race, I ended up lip syncing to that song.
Hi, welcome to the guest list with Patrick Hicks. Today I am joined by drag queen, a RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star now, Denali Fox. Denali, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So today we're going to be building a playlist of your life, going back, starting with childhood. I know you grew up in Alaska. How did you wind up in Alaska?
So, yeah, my dad was a radiologist and he decided he wanted to. I think he went like on a work event trip or something up there and decided to settle there just because he wanted to be one of the like only radiologists in a smaller town.
Okay.
So he decided to settle in Fairbanks, and I'm both grateful for it and kind of like, why did you guys choose there? Because it's just so like nothing.
Yeah. Where did he live
um,
before that?
he was from New Jersey,
Okay.
and he bounced around from Denver and Texas and all sorts of places, but settled in Alaska. And my mom was from Texas. They met in college in Texas.
So what was it like growing up in Alaska? Was it like a jewel thing where you were remote and isolated, or is Fairbanks like a big city? I don't really know.
Dual thing. Yeah, Fairbanks is the second largest city, but it's still pretty isolated.
Were you one of
Yeah.
those kids that grew up and was like, I can't wait to get out of this town and go somewhere else?
Literally, absolutely, immediately. I was like, please get me out of here, especially with coming out and like, wanting to embrace my queerness and be with other queer, like more queer community.
Yeah.
Alaska had none of that. So it was really important that I got out and I did very early. I left at like 14, to be honest,
Oh,
which my mom claims was way too young to leave the house, but I was ready.
yeah. So where did you go at 14?
I went to Salt Lake City first.
Mhm.
As many people know, I grew up figure skating.
Yeah.
I wanted to really go for figure skating, felt like my way out of Alaska. It was like, oh, I can be an Olympian and I can be a star being an athlete kind of a thing. And so I worked really, really, really hard and I got to a point where I was competitive and I could be on the US team.
So what is a song
Yeah,
that reminds you of your childhood?
that's a really good question. I would say the first song that comes to my mind is a song called La Vida es un Carnival by Celia Cruz. My mom is Mexican. I'm Mexican, and we grew up listening to a lot of salsa music in the house and a lot of dance music. Dance was kind of like a part of our human, like, family connection.
Yeah.
And whenever I hear that song, I'm taken right back to memories of dancing with my family. We would go to salsa dance nights in Alaska, and we would all dance together. My dad would dance with my sister. I would dance with my dad. My mom would dance with me. My mom would dance with my brother. We would just all dance together, and it felt really sweet. And they're just good, joyous memories every time that I hear that song. It's a salsa classic. Like every
Yeah.
Latina knows that song for sure.
Was there a big Mexican community in Fairbanks?
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay.
Mexicans are everywhere and they will find community wherever they are. So, surprisingly, yeah, there was a lot and it was those were some of my favorite and fondest memories with my family was dancing with them. I was
Yeah.
raised really religious, so there was also a lot of gospel music. But the ones that I connected to the most was that song and salsa dance. It was kind of an honor to like grow up with that bit of culture because my dad is white and my mom is Mexican. So I felt like a lot of my culture growing up was a little bit taken from me in terms of the Mexican culture.
Yeah.
My mom definitely was trying to assimilate and she didn't speak as much Spanish as she should have and things like that. And so sometimes I feel like music was the one way that we tapped into our Mexican culture. It was really nice.
Did your dad
Mhm.
expose you to any music that he liked? Like, what was his kind of musical background?
My dad also loved salsa music. So it was really nice because he was so intrigued by Mexican culture and was so in love with my mom that like he learned Spanish and he would also listen to the same music. So,
Oh,
he
that's
listened to a lot of Celia Cruz, a lot of Juanes, a lot of
mm.
let me think, like Mark Anthony even he loved. So
Oh
it
yeah.
was a lot of that and it was really nice to kind of share that culturally with my family.
shifting gears a little bit, what is a song from a concert experience that stands out to you?
As like growing up as a kid.
Anything. It could be your first concert, could be the last concert you went to. Do you go to a lot of live shows? Is that a big thing for you?
Literally, it is everything to me. There was a tweet one time that was like, I left church and I realized that like going to concerts was the communal feeling that like people feel in church, that spiritual level of listening to music live and connecting with other people there. They
Yeah.
realized that they could experience that just at any concert. It's why there's these cult followings of the Beehive or the Swifties,
Yeah.
these things where it's like, because when we all come together and listen to music live, it does feel spiritual. So moving away from church and like really embracing that in the more secular world was super important for me. I'm
Yeah.
wearing her on my shirt. She is my ultimate queen. I love Beyonce so much. And I would say the song that gets me all the time is a song called Flaws and All by
Hmm.
Beyonce. She I remember going to my first Beyonce tour. I think it was the Mrs. Carter World Tour. I saw her in Texas. I waited like 8 hours to be like barrier to see that show, and she sang that song in that show. And it's a beautiful, very like soft acoustic song of hers with a harp. And she really just—it's a simple song. She just talks about not knowing why her partner loves her because she has all of these flaws, even though
Yeah.
Beyonce is perfect. Um, and I don't know, that song just really hit me as a teenager, and I just really love it. And I've been able to now see Beyonce like 4 or 5 times since,
Oh, wow.
and every time that I see that song, it takes me back to that memory. And now I am happily engaged, and I have a partner that
Hmm.
I've been with for 8 years, and I have the
Congratulations.
wonderful privilege of being able to go to the Renaissance tour with him and see myself as that young boy hearing that song, but this time with the love of my life.
Oh,
So it
that's
was very
amazing.
full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really just special because yeah, it's just such a cool thing that I like get to experience with him.
Did you go? She was just at Soldier Field like a couple weeks ago. Did you go to that show?
I absolutely went to that show. It
I'm
was so
jealous.
good. She's
Jealous.
just it's so I feel so lucky to be able to experience an artist like and like her, like of this generation that truly gave her all to it, and what that did to her, like the good things, the greatness that is Beyonce, but also the really really devastating things that it means to kind of like dedicate your all to stardom and to
Mhm.
celebrity and to music, to everything. It gives and it takes. So it's really interesting to just observe her.
All right, moving on with the playlist. What is a song you associate with a certain activity? And this one you could be creative. You could pick the activity, but a song that goes with it.
That is a great question, and I already have it. It would be LaBouche's "Be My Lover."
Love that song.
That song is probably my first introduction to house and dance music. House music is so, so important to me, especially from being in Chicago. And, I didn't realize how intrinsic house music was like embedded into my childhood.
Hmm.
But my mom, she is one of the most inspiring people of my life. And she was an athlete. She was driven. She was really, really just a busy, busy lady. She was always doing something. She was always working really hard to, you know, tend to our family and be the best mother that she could be. And because a lot of our childhood was very go, 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 the music that we listened to was very representative of that same type of kind of pace of our life.
Yeah.
She put on dance music all the time. She would call it cardio aerobic music because she didn't really know what it was, but like she liked hype dance music. And
Yeah.
she would teach this aerobics class that she put us in by the time I was maybe like 7 or 8. And she would help us, she would ask us to make the mixes for her. And I made her a mix that had LaBouche's Be My Lover, and she loved that song. So we would listen to it while we were doing cardio, we would listen to it in the car, and our whole life just kind of had this pace of like dance and like electronic music. It was very fast paced. We were constantly doing something. But dance music was embedded to me from a very young age, and I'm so grateful because like who would have thought, but like 15 years later when I was on RuPaul's Drag Race, I ended up lip syncing to that song. And it just felt very full circle because I think
Yeah.
of my mom a lot when I hear that song. But the activity that I feel is exercising and the pace of
Yeah.
my childhood and athletics. So, although it was stressful at times, it reminds me of how hardworking and active my mom was.
Your lip sync to the Crystal Waters song 100% Pure Love is my favorite lip sync of all time. I watched that
Oh
video.
my God, thank you.
What did it have, like 8 million views? 5 million of them are me. Did another video, like a showcasing Chicago drag excellence video with you and a bunch of other queens
Yeah,
to that song. And I watch that all the time too. It's so fantastic. I wanted to get a
thank
Crystal Waters
you.
shirt actually to wear, but they don't have a lot of Crystal Waters merch out there.
Oh my God, I'm friends with her now, so I'll ask her if she has any merch, and I'll like
Yeah,
try
she
and
gotta
get
get
it
some
to you
merch.
because that's
Did she reach out to you after that lip sync, or how did you guys connect?
yeah, she did. Drag Race is so popular and it's so culturally significant now that sometimes
Yeah.
just from the lip sync songs alone, it will boost the artist's songs back into the Billboard charts.
Yeah.
And we got that song back into the Billboard dance charts, and she was so grateful that she messaged me and was like, "Thank you so much. Like your lip sync was amazing." And now we actually this year have the opportunity to do a Pride gig together, and I'm really excited
Cool.
to kind of recreate that moment
Yeah.
because like that song is so meaningful to me, and that moment was so meaningful for her. So yeah, it's a fun little thing that we get to do. She's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that song. I when we got our iPods on the show, you know, you get an iPod that you listen to for the lip syncs
Yeah.
and you see the list of the songs. I saw that song. I was like, oh, I really hope I get this song because I love it so much.
Yeah.
So I think producers were listening and they were like, let's do this song. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really grateful for it. That song is great, and so is Gypsy Woman, just, you
Yeah.
know, the
Such a
classics
classic.
that are still being remixed today and still being interpolated into
Mm.
everything. I mean, this is the birthplace of house music, and
Yeah.
we are so lucky that we are able to just. There's a place called Smart Bar here that is
Mhm.
kind of where a lot of queer Chicago house is still um like it's coming from the place that house music came from was a place called the Warehouse, and it's why it's called house music. And that was, I think, further on the south side. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's such an iconic place, and they would pad the floors so that your feet were more comfortable and you could dance for longer. They weren't allowed to sell alcohol because they wanted it to go until like 5 or 6 a.m., and there was an ordinance that said like you can't sell alcohol to that point. So that's why they padded the floors to make it like more comfortable, and people would stay until the night. And that's where house music and the word house is derived from. So it was really cool that that's just down the street from us.
Yeah.
And we have the privilege of listening to like, you know, house legends here, like Derek Carter and Michael Serafini and Honey Dijon is from here. Like, yeah, house music is just so important, and it's so cool to be able to like be part of that here.
All right. Changing gears a little bit. What's a song that gets you emotional?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I would say there's a few. The first one that I can think of is Baby Mine by I actually don't know who sings it. But
Hmm.
it's the lullaby from Dumbo. And it is a lullaby that my mother would sing to me when I was a baby. And I'm a very forgetful person. I don't have a lot of like good memory. And
Hmm.
that though, you know, you don't have a lot of memories from like being an infant, but that's one that I still recall as her singing that song to me. Yeah, it's just one of those things that just puts me right back into a childlike state and just makes me weep. It's such a beautiful song. And another one I would say is Uninvited by Alanis Morissette.
Oh, yeah.
That song,
Amazing.
first of all, anything in like a Phrygian melody and like immediately taps into something emotional for me. I love like Arabic scales. Um, and that song, it's just so grand and it gives me chills. I listen to music sometimes as like a figure skater, and I'll imagine skating to it. And that one is just one that I see in such a grand scope. It makes me emotional every single time. It's just so, so, so beautiful.
Have you skated to that song yet?
I haven't skated to it, but I did do a tour one time where I did it in drag, and it was a theater tour. So I got to do this big epic version of it, and it's like my favorite number I've ever done. Because
Yeah.
generally people know me for being very like, like high energy dance girl, and that one just it was just fun to do something a bit more like dramatic and contemporary.
Do you
And
have
then
a
anything
song?
by Billie Eilish.
Oh, sorry. Anything by Billie Eilish?
Yes, I love her so much. And there's a few songs of hers that get me really, really emotional. They're more of her deep cuts that people don't know. There's a song
Okay.
that's unbelievably devastating, like probably the most devastating song I know, but it's called Listen Before I Go. Um, and it was when Billie was a young teenager and she was really dealing with fame coming at her very quickly and also a lot of mental health issues to where she kind of depicts like what it would be like if she were to take her life because things were just really a lot for her.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just such a devastating song because it takes you through the steps of like what she would do if she were to do it. And yeah, it's just really hard to listen to. And it's in this documentary of hers where she's talking to her mother, and her mother is like, "Is this something you really want to put out? Is this something you really feel?" And
Yeah.
it's just such a devastating conversation to have with your teenage daughter. And I don't know, it's just the whole song is just so, so beautiful, but so sad. So I would say
Yeah.
that.
I don't know that one. I don't know if I want to listen to it now
It's
after
a
thinking
little, I
about
would definitely
it. Yeah.
warn people. I would definitely warn people that like just be careful because it's like
Yeah.
a pretty sad.
What is a song that you associate with a milestone in your life?
Oh my God, these are such good questions. Okay. I guess can I say 100% pure love? Like I
Yeah.
know I've already talked about that, but
No, I
if
probably
we
should have
wanted to like
saved. Yeah, I
I,
should have
I,
saved.
I guess I have a few because there's, a few milestones that I've reached in my life. One of them was finishing my figure skating career was really important to me and being able to like wrap that up really beautifully. Every year, you get to choose your music that you want to skate to. And I chose Scheherazade. It's a beautiful classical piece that I don't know. I was just so inspired by it. It's also kind of Middle Eastern sounding and very
Mhm.
it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous song. And my favorite skater, Yuna Kim, she skated to it. And I just wanted to like end my skating career with that song. So I was
Yeah.
really grateful that I got to skate to that and wrap that up. But then I would say 100% pure love because getting on Drag Race was such a special thing. But I told myself when I got on Drag Race that I really wanted to lip sync
Hmm.
because I that's what I do. I just love to lip sync. So
Yeah.
I would say I would say that. Okay, wait, and there's one more. My every I feel like every gay person kind of has their coming out song,
Hmm.
where it's
Okay.
like a song that they really tapped into that helped them feel their full authentic self or helped them feel very free.
Yeah.
Um, and mine would be, which is so funny because it's like not a gay song whatsoever. It's just like a really hype EDM song,
Hmm.
but it's called "Take Over Control" by Afrojack.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I know Afrojack. I
Uh,
don't know if I know that song, but
yeah, we love Afrojack, and it's just this like recession pop banger. Like it just goes so crazy. And I was 16 or 17 at the time that song came out. And I stuck into a club that I was not supposed to be in. And that, I just come out of the closet. It was a gay
Mhm.
club and it was my first time being there. And that song came on and I just remember feeling like, whoa, I am so free and like this is so fun. And yeah, so that song is always associated with just the milestone of like finding myself and like
Yeah, of
really
course.
coming into my
Were your parents supportive? I mean, coming from a religious background, how did they take it?
it took my mother a few years to kind of come around, and even to this day I'll admit it's not perfect, but my dad has always been supportive from day one. His younger brother was also gay, and his nonchalantness about it all was like so important to me. It was just not a big deal. And he was like,
Yeah.
cool, okay, great. Next, like it was just awesome. So half and half, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Did she watch
Yeah,
Drag?
absolutely. She did though. She did. She loves it and she's a glamour girl and she sees a lot of the inspiration that I have in my femininity in her, so I think that she appreciates that. But
Yeah.
it is still kind of like she's also like she's like weary of it too.
Sure. I get that. What is a song with lyrics that you love? Are you more lyrics or are you more music?
I'm a production girl. I love the beats and I love sometimes I won't even know what a song is about because I'm just listening to the production. I think that comes from being a dancer and just comes from being in choreography where I'm always listening to the small little things that I can add details into movement.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely do, especially because now that being with my partner Alex, he's a lyrics guy and he's always
Oh,
sending me
okay.
like songs and he's like, "This song is so sweet. Did you hear this song? Listen to this, like listen to that song." So I'm definitely a lyrics girl now.
Okay.
I try to listen to them a lot more, but recently I've been really into a song called Skinny by Billie Eilish as well. It's the opening track from her most recent album. Um, and she has a line in it that says it talks it's a song a lot about her body image and like her
Hmm.
image in general in the media. And there's this one line that she says, "But the old me is still me, and maybe the real me, and I think she's pretty." And I just think that it's such a beautiful self-reflective line about like kind of coming around to terms of herself. She's gone
Yeah.
through a lot in her life. Obviously, like that song that I introduced to you before, that was an early album of hers where she was really struggling mentally. And now the introduction of that album, which was just recent, Hit Me Hard and Soft, that song kind of shows her mental health growth even, where she's kind of it's almost like she's doing the work as the song goes, where she's like, but maybe that old version of me is still the good version of me, and honestly, I think she's pretty. Because when you look
Right.
back at images of yourself, sometimes you're like, God, I was so this and I was so that, and we look back at our self-image with such negativity sometimes, but that old version of you is still the real version of you. And it's nice to just admit that, like, that was a nice version of myself. She might have been more innocent or she might have been bigger or smaller or whatever, but I think she's pretty. And it's just nice to hear her talk about herself like that and see that growth. And then lyrically, anything from Cowboy Carter, because my God, like, I don't mean to like be saying so much pop songs, but that album is just so lyrically dense if you
Yeah.
really listen to it. There's a beautiful interlude song. It's not even the real song. I wouldn't say a real song. It's not even like one of the main tracks
Right.
on it, but it's an interlude song called Flamenco.
Hmm.
And it talks about her kind of maybe possibly leaving everything. She's kind of saying farewell um, to the audience, and it's the first time that she's ever really spoken about like this has been a lot. She's exhausted, and she's given her everything to this, and it seems like she's time to. She seems like she's like ready to go, and it's just
Yeah.
really beautiful to hear her speak on it. So I would say those
Yeah.
songs are the ones that lyrically are hitting me right now. Yeah.
I mean, as a music history person, that album is like, that's going to be a college class one day, like Cowboy Carter, studying like the history of country music and the intersection of country and pop and black artists. There's so much going on in that musically, lyrically. It's pretty brilliant.
It's just, and it makes all the rest of the music in the world just feel so silly because it's like she's not just trying to make you dance, she's really trying to make you think. She's
Mhm.
like she's a historian and she has brought in her love of like anthropology and
Yeah.
black culture and black studies and things like that into the forefront and what it means to be an American. Like it's just crazy. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
also a song in there called Daughter. Oh
Oh,
God. It's like my favorite
yeah.
song ever right now. And again, lyrically, it's so beautiful. She loops in these religious themes into this like scorned, hateful, just like like I don't know, just like murderous woman. She paints a picture of like such a fantasy. It's so good, and I love that song so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you've been naming a lot of pop songs. What is a song that people might be surprised that you love?
I really like a lot of like acoustic folk
Hmm.
songs as well sometimes, and I think that comes from like the skating really taps into like a classical kind of vibe, and it makes you want
Yeah.
to like really listen to instrumentation and things like that. But there's a song called Lighthouse. Patrick Watson is his name. Most people know him as the voice of the song "To Build a Home." It's by the Cinematic Orchestra with him, and I think he's my favorite vocalist of all time. He's just got
Oh,
such a
wow.
unique tone, and
Hmm.
he's just so beautiful. It just immediately takes you to a place. And that song "Lighthouse" is just so gorgeous. I've skated to it multiple times, and it just makes me feel so uh, I don't even know. It just makes me feel so beautiful. It's just him and the piano. But then it goes into this like crazy, like big country sounding kind of like thing at the
Hmm.
end. It's really beautiful. Andrew Bird.
Oh, nice. I love Andrew Bird.
I love Andrew Bird. What is it? It's about coming back to Chicago. It's called Pulaski at Night. And it's a song that just reminds me of kind of starting over in my life in Chicago. He literally just repeats like we're starting over and we're coming back to Chicago. He says that in the song, and then there's this beautiful like viola, fiddle. I don't know what instrument it is, but it's this beautiful violin melody that just kind of courses throughout of it and takes you. It's one of those songs that you just gotta look out the window to and just like it just makes you feel super nostalgic. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would say that song, it really reminds me of starting over here in Chicago a lot. Yeah.
Are there songs that are great songs to skate to that aren't great lip sync songs and vice
Actually,
versa? Like,
and this is the greatest interview I've ever done. Um, Most classical songs for
mm,
sure, but there is quite a bit of crossover because of the drama of ice
yeah.
skating. It's so over dramatized, it's so glamorous that there actually is quite a bit of crossover. But obviously, anything acoustic, anything without lyrics, so any of these classical songs that are really big in figure skating. Figure skating, they have like 20 to 30 classical songs that they just circulate. It's like Romeo and Juliet, it's Scheherazade, it's The Bells of Moscow. It's like all of these songs that like they'll constantly just redo because at the end of the day they're skating for like white old judges. Skating can lend itself to a lot of different styles. And yeah, I guess maybe like if it was like something super, super, super deconstructed, like some crazy ass hyper pop or something that just like sounded like nothing. But even then, I would still probably find a way to skate
Find a
to
way. Yeah. Do you have any
it. Yeah.
songs that you really want to skate to and you just haven't found a way to choreograph it yet?
That's a good question too. Daughter is one I want to skate to, but I do feel like the second that I get on the ice and I start, it'll come to me quickly because that one is
Yeah.
so natural to itself. There's a recent
Yeah.
artist that I've really gotten into lately. Her name is Her name is Rose Gray, and
Okay.
she's like if Carly Rae Jepsen was from the UK and made house music. That's how what
Sold.
like I would say.
Yeah, sold. That
Yeah.
sounds.
She's incredible. She's like got such a sweet vocal and her lyrics are so beautiful. She has a song called Everything Changes that I think would look really beautiful on the ice. She just repeats that everything in life changes, but I won't.
Mm.
Um, so it's just like this really sweet thing about like, yes, life moves on and everything constantly changes, but I will always be your constant. Like we will change
Oh,
together. And I think that that really represents like me and my partner's relationship. We have lived like 10 different lives already within the 8 years that we've been together. And we just keep growing together and molding
yeah.
like into the next versions of ourselves together. And I think that that's like a really sweet song that kind of I think would work well on the ice as well.
So you've introduced me to a lot of songs already. What's a song that you love that you introduced somebody to? So maybe that you put on a mixtape or a playlist.
Ooh, actually, yeah, I've introduced a lot of people to this song called In Your Arms by Shift Key. He is also like an EDM artist. And recently I went to a Disclosure concert, and I think that they played this song there for the first time. That's where I heard it. It was so good. It's just this like bouncy, like tech house type track. And yeah, it's just like a feel good dance song. So I've introduced a lot of people to that one.
And what about the flip side? What's a song that somebody else introduced you to that you then fell in love with?
My drag mother is also Mexican, and she's introduced me to a lot of reggaeton music. Her name is
Hmm.
Camila Fox. She's amazing. She's like the best drag queen I know. And she first introduced me to like Kali Uchis and Rosalia, and like a lot of the big like names and even some of the smaller names in reggaeton. So I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for her. But I would say like Kali Uchis album Orquideas is it was like my second favorite album of last year,
Yeah.
and I listened to that thing over and over and over. It's full of hits, nothing but hits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She has a new record that just came out this year, right?
she does. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like fast. I was
Yeah.
surprised that
Very
she had come
prolific.
back so soon. It's great. She's amazing.
Last one, what is the most recent song you've fallen in love with?
I'm gonna go to my on repeat playlist. Are you a Spotify girl, or
I I'm definitely
are
Spotify,
you
and
Apple Music?
no, I'm definitely
Yeah.
Spotify. But for this, I'm posting the playlists on like Apple and Tidal. So I had to learn how to use both of those, and I'm like, nah, like Spotify's the best. In my
Well,
fantasy
I would
world,
say
like
for this
Spotify
one,
buys my podcast, and then I can only use Spotify. It'd be great.
that'd be amazing. Yeah. Well, we're gonna manifest that.
Yes.
Um, Well, I would say the song that I've most recently fallen in love with is a song. It's a crazy song called "Itty Bitty" by Ash Nico, and it depicts what it's like when you put on a tiny little mini skirt and you go out. And I just really relate to it. I get it. I get everything she's talking about in that song. And the beat is crazy. I forget who her producer is, but she works with one producer and only, and he just does nothing but bangers for her. It's more of like a hyper pop song. It's almost like her version of like a Brat song. Like it's so good, and I need people to get on board with her. Like I love that song so much.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get on board. This is fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much for building this playlist with me. What do you have to promote right now?
Well, I am about to air on RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10. I'm so excited. I'm in bracket 3, and we will
I
start on
know.
Friday, June 13th. So, everybody, keep your eyes peeled for me on your TV screens. I'm going to be traveling all over the world for Pride season this summer, and I've got a lot of fun things coming up. So, just stay tuned to my social media and everything like that.
You've heard the stories, now hear the songs. Go to wherever you listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and you can listen to today's guest's personalized playlist if you search for The Guest List with Patrick Hicks.